God, the Chi-Coms are loud this morning. W6MQI.
Dave, W6MQI, do you copy? K0DWC.
I'm hearing it, but just barely. The Chinese broadcast is pretty much wiping you out.
Yeah, I've got it bad over here too, as well. But you picked up quite a bit that time. I heard you test, and you were sounding pretty weak. But now you've come up to about your normal audio. So did you hear Rich in there? He's calling Henry, but Henry's not on yet. But he's testing a new microphone, and I can't make him out because of the foreign broadcast. I don't know if you'd have any better luck than me or not.
It's W6JRY. Chuck, you're a really good copy here this morning. It's W6JRY.
Well, good morning, Jerry. How you doing? You got a ground pounding signal in here as well. Good to hear you this morning. Do you hear Rich KE6QK and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, here we go. Dave, W6MQI. Do you hear them, Jerry?
Yeah, I can hear Dave. I heard Dave okay. I heard Rich, but his audio was really restricted. It seemed like a pretty low audio and kind of restricted there or something.
Yeah, he's trying out. I think he said he's trying out a new microphone, but he, the foreign broadcast is kind of drowning him out here, even though I'm as close to him as I am.
Yeah, I don't hear any foreign broadcasts this morning here in my place, but I hear quite a bit of QSB on the signals. But you're very strong here. Way over F9.
That's weird, Jerry, because boy, they're strong as hell here in Livermore.
Well, you are too. You're strong here too, but I sure don't hear the foreign broadcast this morning here. I generally will hear that, but it's not making it over here. Where it's really bad for me is on 40 meters. It's W6JRY.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. Yep, it's Chinese station. Well, I am on the TCS. It's wide as a barn door, so that's probably part of the problem.
Yeah, I'm listening on the ARR7. That's pretty wide. It's in itself too. But Dave and Jerry, I've got you both down on the sheet.
Hey Jerry, if I sent you an email, ask a couple questions about homeowners insurance you got up there, you'd be willing to answer?
How much the contract for?
I think that's Mike. You're off quite a bit off frequency.
W6 Able Queen Uncle.
W6AQU. Good morning, Bob. I've got you on the sheet there, bud.
Roger, thanks, Chuck. Good morning to you.
And NU6F. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Ron. I've got you on the sheet as well.
And W6SSP.
Good morning, Steve. Good signal in the Dayton this morning. I've got you on the sheet, sir.
Boy, everybody's pounding in here, and I'm not hearing any optimist. W6SSP.
that Chinese station?
No, I'm surprised everybody else is hearing it so strong. I'm not hearing a thing.
Man, it's bad here. That's strange.
Well, you know, it could have something to do with the receivers I'm using. I'm using the, of course, 75A1, but I've got the crystal filter in too, so that's doing some of that.
Yeah, I kind of tuned off frequency. It helps a little bit.
WA60PE.
Good morning, Tom. WA60PE. Nice signal this morning, Tom, over here in Dayton. I've got you in the number 6 spot, sir.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
K0 DWC KE6QK radio check.
Hey, Rich, I copied you that time. You're still down just a little bit, but the copy's 100% better than it was. You're Q5.
Yeah, okay. I rebuilt 2 D104s. I'm using an old D104. I took 2 of them and made 1. The meter says okay here. I'm looking at hello, hitting it a little hard here. Back off a little bit. This is a D104. I have the other microphone. If we have problems here, it'll just take me a minute to change it. Thank you very much.
Okay, K6QK, K0DWC. Yeah, you almost sound like you're on a carbon mic. You know, the foreign broadcast is interfering with you a little bit too. If they were gone, which they probably will be here shortly, you should be fine, at least here anyway. So I've got you down on the sheet too, Rich. KE6QK, K0DWC.
Some signal reports here. If this mic is too bad, I'll quickly switch over. Thank you.
Hey, Rich, I think you need to check your carrier frequency audio W7MS.
And W7MS, good morning.
Good morning, Mike. W7MS, K0DWC. Good signal, Mike. Good signal this morning. I've got you on the paper, sir.
Okay, thank you, and I'm officially tuned up, and all the knobs are in the right position, so I'm glad you can hear me. And good morning to everybody on frequency, W7MS.
November 6th, Bravo.
N6BCT, good morning, Bill. This K0DWC. Nice signal this morning. I've got you on the paper, sir. A few minutes early. We've got plenty of folks here, so we can go ahead and commence with the first round. But anyway, good morning to all. Dave, Jerry, Bob, Ron, Steve, Tom, Rich, Mike, and Bill. Good morning to everyone. This is Vintage Military Radio Net. This is Chuck, K0DWC, and I'll be your net control this morning. Vintage Military Radio Net is a roundtable AM net that provides an opportunity for licensed hands to operate their vintage military radio gear on the air. Military gear is encouraged, but certainly not a requirement. Check-ins will be given a number that can be used in the handoff, and I'll call for check-ins at the end of each roundtable session. So if anybody has anything for sale or has a want for something, excuse me, please mention it during your turn in the roundtable session. So I will run down the list in the order that I've heard folks, and here we go. In the number 1 spot is Dave, W6MQI. In the number 2 spot is Jerry, W6JRY. In the number 3 spot is Bob, W6AQU. In the 4 spot is Ron, NU6F. In the 5 spot is Steve, W6SSP. In the number 6 spot is Tom, WA6OPE. In the 7th spot is Rich, KE6QK. In the 8th spot is Mike, W7MS. And in the number 9 spot, excuse me again, this is Bill, N6BCT. So number 10 is open. If you'd like to check in for the first round, come now.
WA7YBS.
Hey, Henry, good morning there. Sounding good as usual. I got you in the 10 spot, Henry. Okay, anyone else like to check in first round and be number 11? Please come now.
Hey Chuck, this is Tom. Could you give me number 7's call sign phonetically, please?
Yeah, Tom. It's Rich, KE6QK, Kilo Echo 6. Queen King.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Okay, one last call. If anybody like to be number 11, Vintage Military Radio Net, come now. Okay, nothing heard. So I'll just go down the list one more time with just the call signs. Number 1, W6MQI. Number 2, W6JRY. Number 3, W6AQU. Number 4, NU6F. number 5, W6SSP, number 6, WA6OPE, number 7, KE6QK, number 8, W7MS, number 9, N6BCT, and number 10, WA7YBS. So, good morning again. We're running the standard net control station this morning, ART13, 200 watts through an inverter V with a D104 amplified microphone, and listening on 2 receivers, the ARR7 with the LS3, and we're listening also on the R390A, just in case, on the loop antenna. So anyway, we'll go up to the top for first round, and if you guys don't mind, and you guys have been good doing this before, please give us the rundown of your equipment. So it would be appreciated. So W6MQI, go ahead and take it, Dave.
All right. Chuck,
Alrighty, Chuck. And thanks for taking the net this morning. And good morning to all stations: Jerry, Bob, Ron, Steve, Tom, Rich, Mike, Bill, and Henry. And this is Dave in Livermore, and we are on the TCS setup this morning with a D104 microphone, driving the Titan 425 amplifier for 300 watts of carrier, and feeding a inverted V. And nice weather out. Well, it's going to be probably today. Yesterday it was beautiful here. It's 42 degrees or so this morning. And boy, the Chicom station, I had to tune off frequencies really bad here for some reason. I'm also getting a really weird noise. Only when you guys transmit I hear it. Almost sounds like a switching power supply. And as soon as you guys let up, it goes away. Very odd. I don't hear it. Only when you guys are transmitting do I hear this noise on my receiver. I don't know if maybe it's a receiver problem or what. I was going to listen on another radio here and see if I'm hearing it. That's very odd. But that's it for now. I will send it up to Jerry, W6JRY, W6MQI.
Okay, W6MQI and the group W6JRY, very good. Everybody's very strong here today. There was another station trying to check in there too, Chuck. Pretty weak. It sounded like the W6 something, and I didn't quite get it, but maybe you can pick him up as things go along there. But good morning to all. And like I say, good signals from everybody here this morning. We're on the 32V3 75A4 combination here this morning. D104 mic and Delta loop antenna set up here. And it's 60 degrees here in the shack this morning and 51 degrees outside. So it's warmed up. We had a beautiful day here yesterday. And just kind of wandered around looking at all the things that need to be done out in the yard area and so on, from the debris that's come down from some of our windy days. We did have some pretty high winds here in first part of last week through here. That's kind of settled down now. So I'll keep it moving and over to Ron, NU6F in the group W6JRY.
K6VXY at 7:30. I just barely made it.
Stand by just 1 minute, Ron. It sounded like Kevin, but did anybody pick him up? It sounded like him.
That was Vern.
Oh, okay. Thanks. All righty. Vern, K6VXY, I've got you in the number 11 spot. You'll send it back up to me at the end of the first round there, Vern. K6VXY, number 11. My apologies, gentlemen. W6AQU, Yeah, W6AQU. Bob, go ahead and take it.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. 0DWC in the military net this morning. This is W6 Able Queen Uncle in Montague, working on my first cup of coffee, and looks like the sun's going to be coming up here. Going to be a nice day. We're running a single 500Z at about 200 watts. Oh, Jerry, you're loud and clear. Lewis, everybody else is just booming in here this morning, actually. MQI, Ron, Steve, OPE, loud and clear. Rich, I haven't heard Mike yet. Heard BCT in there. Henry and Vern there so far. Sarah and Charlie. So, over there to Reno, NU6F. This is W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Okay, good deal, guys. Yeah, it's nice having clean signals. You know that the foreign broadcasts, I don't hear them at all. They're up, up above the, I think the 3980 something it looks like that they're at. But good copy and all. Ron in Reno, Lemon Valley to be exact, and I'm running the T3 transmitter at 300 watts carrier, and listening on the R390A, and the antenna is 170 foot long wire, about 25 foot up. And great copy, and I was noticing my noise level is, I haven't seen it this low on 80 meters for I don't know how long, but so good deal all around. Signal strong, noise weak. With that, I'll pass it down to Steve, W6SSP, NU6F.
Okay, Ron, thank you very much, and good morning, one and all. This is Steve, W6SSP, just north of Santa Rosa. Transmitter is Collins 32V1, and I switched over to an Imperial R390A just to see if I could hear the Chinese broadcast station, and even on 16 KC wide IF, I can't hear them. So sorry about that, Dave. I'm sorry you're hearing the interference, but I'm not hearing it up here at all, which is unusual, because I usually do hear it. Anyway, a little comment about seeing boat anchors on television. I was flipping around the channels earlier today, and I came across an old science fiction show called The Time Machine, Time Tunnel, sorry about that. And they were showing an episode about Pearl Harbor on December 7th. And they had a fantastic shot, actually several shots, of communications room at Pearl Harbor. And the radios I was able to identify were a Collins 32RA transmitter. Sitting on top of that was a TechRad LRR6. In the background was either a GEO or GP transmitter. I'm not really sure exactly which one it was, because I've never had one. Also the top of a BC 610, and in the background was National NC 240D, which was a little bit too late. And the coolest thing was they showed the Japanese consulate, and they were hauling around the radio that, we got to save this. It's an ART-13. Anyway, great shots of all these things. So if any of you guys have high-speed internet and want to stream it, you can probably do that. The show was, again, Time Tunnel. The episode was about Pearl Harbor. So, with that, we'll send it down to Tom, WA6OPE, W6SSP.
Okay, W6SSP, WA6OPE. Morning, everybody. Tom here in beautiful Richmond.
using the old World War II U.S. Navy setup RBC receiver and TCM transmitter. Let's see, yes, I'm using the RBC transmitter or receiver because the RBB is still not been repaired. It's conked out, and there's no room on the bench to get it on the bench. If you've ever worked on one, you know you have to have a pretty good sized bench to work on them, especially if you have to replace any resistors or capacitors. Usually you have to split them, and it's kind of an ugly scene. So that's the rundown here. I'm starting to rebuild shock mount for the TCZ. I have partially disassembled the TCZ transmitter, and I'm doing initial cleaning and checking of the transmitter. The power supply, the only thing that's unknown are the high voltage transformers. Everything else, the control circuit and all is working. The rectifiers, 866 rectifier filaments, all light. Everything's cooking along there. And also, sympathy please, I've also been back working on my TDE. And boy, I'll tell you folks, what fun. They were something else to work on. So power supply stuff, and of course this one has the AC power supply, which is yet to be proven to work. We're going to find out. But anyway, the control circuit is now working. But boy, I'll tell you, it wasn't easy, and I found some wires that were flipped that weren't what they said they were. So there was a little chasing of tails there for a while. And saw some things out like the starter and the momentary contact push button starting switches for the 6-wire remote system. Those did not zero, they did not work. Infinite resistance, and they do now. And lots of corrosion, dirt, dust inside things, whatever. So we're making some progress on the TDE as well, and trying to devise a method of single-handedly getting the 130-pound power supply, AC power supply, into the power supply section of the transmitter. So that's going to be fun. Anyway, lots of progress radio-wise around here. So, and I'm looking forward to the Loomis swap meet report. So I'll be all ears. I'll turn it over. I'm not copying this number 7 KE6QK too well, but anyway, here comes KE6QK WA6OPE.
WA6OPE. This is KE6QK. KE6QK. Okay, I'll make a transmission on this microphone that's just been reassembled. I hope it's working. If not, I'll switch back to another microphone on next transmission. The microphone is a D104 Silver Eagle. I have two of them. I put connectors on them. I had one with a bad element. I ordered an element, and this one on the meter looks like it's modulating just fine. I guess it doesn't sound very well. I'll switch back. Transmitter is a DX100B as usual, 100 watts. And the receiver, the good news, I got my 75 S1 working very, very well. What happened on that receiver when I tried it last time on this net, the first RF stage, 6DK6 went south, and the second mixer, 6U8A, went south. With my tube tester and some switching around, I got, this thing is so sensitive. Now it's working so well, they can hear a fart in the wind at 1,000 miles. Everyone's over 9. I can hear everybody. I don't hear the Chinese station. It's not in the bandpass of the S-line receiver here. And the antenna is the unfed long wire. Let's see. Okay, I think Mike is next. Chuck, is Mike next? K0DWCK 6QK, is Mike next? Over.
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Okay, well, thank you. K6QK with K0DWC and an assist, and I still hear a station attempting to check in, but he's extremely weak. This is W7MS Mike in Reno, and as per the instructions from our net control station today, I am running the General Dynamics Inspire GRC 106 non-A at, well, somewhat, you know, AME, carrier and upper sideband. Everybody's doing well. No stations from the People's Republic of China to report. And short version of the Loomis swap meet. For my opinion, there really wasn't much to go picking for, but it was a good social event. Saw a lot of the usual suspects from the west side of the Sierras, which was great. Bought a few odds and ends, but then again, there may be the report from Ron, NU6F, on all those low-frequency receivers that one seller had. So we'll see what Ron has to say. We'll save his comments for that, and we're soliciting Ron's comments on those low-frequency receivers that one seller possessed. So with that, over to Bill, N6BCT, W7MS.
W7MS, N6 Bravo, good morning all. Still running the same old thing. We used to up to energy in AM mode with 25 watts. And so that's the story there. And so we got a 2LW receiver back up today, which was still a roof there. I wasn't expecting it to be there. But it was very thick, and I didn't know it. I had to run back upstairs to be able to check in. Anyway, so that's the story there. Anyway, weather is good, so that's everything done. And this person made it 7 o'clock. And it's on single sideband. And it's 39. 146, 925, we do this, and very much the story there. And it's going to the W87YDS and 6 Bravo 20 Tango.
Okay. And stand by just a second. Okay, that looks a little better. And it's, you know, we have to tweak and peak while we are on the air. Isn't that what everybody does? And good morning to all. Good signals from everybody. And let's see. We're on the W6MIT 1625 rig, 75 watts of carrier power, and it looks like we're fully modulated, and so this one is another one where you know well, I don't know. Anyway, the military connection for this transmitter, besides the 1625 tubes, is the T368 exciter. That is the heart of the transmitter. And so anyway, that's the rundown on the W6MIT little rig, the 1625 rig. Receiver is the National NC173 debut, at least on my end here, of using the 173, which is the single RF amplifier version of those receivers, you know, that ultimately ended up with the 183D But the 173 was the first one to come out, and it just has one RF amplifier, but it's that style of two dials, main tuning and band spread with an S meter in the middle. So anyway, 13 tubes in that receiver, and so the antenna is the collinear array, 2 half waves in phase. Temperature this morning was 26. So with that, I think Vern is out there. So let's turn it over to Vern. K6VXY WA7 YBS.
Okay, I'm here, but you guys are really weak today.
I'm going to keep my transmission brief. The antenna I was using got just beat up. The squirrels got it. I reset it up, but you're all weak. The strongest signal is S9 barely. So I'm going to make it quick. I had to go out and get some coffee, and I'll go to the net control, but these things are terrible here. I can barely hear you. Maybe it's my antenna. The noise level is high. K6VXY in Groveland, California, running SB280 volt. And I can't hear anybody hardly. And the first one I heard was Bob, and then I got coffee, then I heard QK. So don't give me a list, I'll figure it out. I'm writing down the calls. Thank you, Henry, and good morning to those I heard. But you're barely audible. The noise level's competing with you. Either it's conditions or my new antenna setup, which I set up over the weekend, isn't very good. Back to net, which I assume is Chuck. K0DWC, is that right? I forget. I'm full of sleep. It's K6VXY.
Okay, Vern, K6VXY, K0DWC. Yeah, you started out a little weak, but then your signal came up a little bit. You were Q5 here in Dayton. Okay, was there a W6 station out there that wanted to check in to the Vintage Military Radio Net? If you're still out there, you're welcome to come in and be number 12. Go ahead. I didn't hear anybody. Did anybody hear anybody at all?
He was there, Chuck, but he's just too light to get a full call sign. But he's certainly persistent, giving it a good shot, W7MS.
Okay, well, I'll give it one more try there. The W6 station that wants to check in, I can't hear you, but some of the fellows can. If you'd like to try to check in again, go ahead.
He was still there, Chuck, but I think he's unless somebody else can pull it out. I think he's going to have to try out a better day. W7MS.
It's W5HRO.
Yeah, I heard him that time. Yeah, W5HRO. Give me your name and QTH, please.
Yeah, the name here is Brian. The name is Brian, and we're in Cameron Park, California. Cameron Park, California, in El Dorado County. Go ahead.
Okay, Brian. W5HRO, copy you in California, and the name is Brian, correct?
Okay, I won't hold it. I just wanted to check in and say hi. But somebody's been wanting me to come in here for a long time, and I don't get up Sunday morning this early usually, but today I got up early. 73s.
Okay, Brian. Thanks for checking in. You're welcome anytime. We're here between about 7:15 and 7:30 to start our net, and we're here every Sunday morning. So I know the conditions probably aren't the ultimate right now, but I did hear you and copied your name and call sign down and your QTH. So thank you for being there, and 7-3s to you, and please come back again. Okay. Let's see, is there anybody else out there that wants to check in? And be number 13. Come now. Okay, nothing heard. Okay, well that was a surprise there with Brian. Good deal. And Dave, I've lost the foreign broadcast here. I'm just wondering if you did as well, because you and I seem to have had a pretty straight path from Livermore to here with the overseas signals, so curious about that. And Steve, I saw Time Tunnel this morning too, and I recognized all the equipment as well. I didn't really recognize the NC240 in there, the 240D, but did see the guy from the Chinese or the Japanese consulate pick up the ART-13. Yeah, I watched that when I was a kid. It was pretty cool. You know, it's kind of silly now, but I mean, it's fun to watch still. But I'm an LIU with that old stuff. I love that old stuff, especially Saturday morning cartoons. So good stuff there, and it was a good Time Tunnel this morning. So glad somebody else got to see it as well. Let's see, Mike, the GRC 106 sounds really good. Man, you got a really good signal and really good audio on that. Everybody's coming in here pretty good. You know, Bill was just a little bit sketchy, but he was Q5. And everybody else is pounding in here. Tom's got a great signal. Steve, Ron, Bob, Jerry, Dave. Henry's knocking the dust off the windows. Vern picked up pretty good. And like I said, we even heard Brian, Brian that time, W5HRO. So let's see. The only thing here I got to say going on here is we had some wind here the other day, and I lost 150 feet of my 200-foot antenna that went to my RBA receiver. And I'm like, well, okay. And then I got to thinking about it, the trouble of putting it back up, and I'm like, you know what? There's not a whole heck of a lot left to listen to on the RBA. So I think I'll mess around with it with the remaining 50 feet, just for fun, and see what comes up. But anyway, lost 150 feet of that due to the wind. And the TA-32 Junior that I've got up top there, the one element's sliding back and forth on the rail. So I've got to figure out some way to get up there and get that fixed. So no DXing for Carla for a while. But anyway, it's about all that's going on here. So we'll go ahead and we will start round 2. Got a big crowd here today, which is great. Dave, W6MQI, K0DWC. Did you lose the foreign broadcast, Dave?
Yeah, I kicked his ass out of here. They're gone. I don't hear him anymore, which is good. But then sidebanders came in, but they kind of seemed to fade away too. But while Brian was on, boy, they were hammering him. But I was copying Brian just fine down here in Livermore, and let's see here. Yeah, Brian, you probably remember him, Ron. He had that website, AM Forever or whatever. I can't even remember the name of it now, but I know you were on there. I was on there. I don't know who else was on there. He was the owner of that website. So if that call sounded sort of familiar, that's who he is. Like I said, he's up in Cameron Park on a homebrew AM transmitter, and it sounded good from what I could hear anyway. I wish conditions were a little bit better. Yeah, while everybody was talking, I was listening on my R390 to see if I could hear that funky noise that's mixing with everybody's signal. Now I'm hearing it on R390 too. I started turning things off here in the shack, see if there was something in the shack. Nope, nothing makes a difference. So that's odd. Excuse me. I don't know what the heck that is. It's a weird kind of watery sort of sound when people transmit. As soon as people stop, it goes away. I don't know. What else? Oh, Mike, yeah, your 106 sounds good. Nice, clean audio. Sounded really good, Mike. And I didn't know you had another version of the 106 to beat your head against the test bench with. That's good. Good job. Well, not much in the way of radio stuff going on here. I am building another tool shed, or lawn tools, or whatever you want to call it, shed. The original one I have is an old Sears metal one, and it's done. Every time I walk in there, it's built on a wood platform. Every time I walk in there, I fall through the floor. So it's okay. I got to get this thing out of here. So I started building a what was that? Started building another one. This one's going to be all wood construction and such. So I got the platform built yesterday. Had the wife out there bringing lumber in from the truck and everything. So got that built, and so hopefully in a couple of weeks that'll all be done. I can get this other old dilapidated shed out of here. And Rich, that D104, that thing's got a funky sound to it. I think Chuck mentioned it's super carbony. Yeah, it doesn't sound right to me, especially for a D104. I would maybe try switching to the other ones, give that one a listen, see how it sounds. Other than that, not much else going on here. Yep, guess that's it. So, oh, Jerry, I might send you an email. See if you could answer a couple questions about the, I don't know if you're on the state exchange for homeowners insurance, fire insurance or not, just curious. So over to you, Jerry. W6JRY, W6MQI.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Dave. W6MQI in the group W6JRY. And good morning to Vern and Brian down there. He's coming in good. Vern's a little light here this morning. Gets reduced power. Bob, senior moment there. Sorry, I missed you. Isn't it? You're plenty strong here. You're one of the strongest signals down here. And a little senior moment there, and missed over you. And I had a question for you too. Last day or so, I opened up the 7300 and was going to investigate doing what I need to do to that. Just wondered if you put the SD card in yours and programmed it and all that stuff, or if you're just kind of running it basic. Yeah, I don't know that I need all that, but for some things, yeah, maybe. But good and strong there. Yeah, I concur there with Dave on Rich over there with the DX100. Yeah, it sounded much better with whatever microphone you was using before the one you got. It sounds very restricted for a D104. And okay, I'm just copying everybody fine here. Is some kind of slow QSB, but the signals are up here good and my noise level is down. Other than that, a little 10-meter activity through the week. Hasn't been super good, but it's very heavy QSB on some of the HF's frequencies, 10, 12, 17 meters up like that. But there is things to be worked there if you have a little patience and watch it. There's been activity on there from all over the country. Late evening into Middle East and kind of late mornings, European stations and so on. And starting to be a little trans-equatorial propagation too now with South American, South African stations on the HF bands. Not too much radio-wise here that I can think of. So I will send it over to you there, Bob. W6AQU and the group W6JRY.
Might have been somebody else in there. Very good. Thanks, Jerry. W6JRY, W6 Able Point Uncle. Well, first of all, Jerry, I tell you what, after that one on the how to tell about your electric car being charged, I read that over and over and over again. That was really something. I thank you for that. That and the coyote. Keep them coming. On the SD card, yes, I have one on my, in fact, I have SD cards in both of the 7300s. That way I don't lose the memory. And so they're a standard little thing. I think I got mine at Walmart or something. Just a few dollars for one of them. And so I followed the instructions in the book, and that's how that worked out. Ron, you're not as loud as you normally are this morning. You might tell us why. And MS, has that noise gone away from up across the street that you thought you were going to have to live with? Rich, I concur on the microphone. It does sound like it could have some improvements or thrown away and started over maybe. But if you could get a replacement element for that. Bill, surprised to hear you loud and clear this morning. The audio sound the same as always. Well, nothing is going bad again on your antenna systems. Vern, I don't know what happened to you. Your signal strength is way down this morning. You keep talking about 70 watts, but it doesn't show up over here. And good morning to Brian. HRO, I thought it was Pat from HRO in Portland calling. Wonder how you got that call. And okay, in your Cameron Park area. I remember Cameron Park. Isn't there a little airstrip up there? I don't know if it's a private strip or not. You may know about that. And there is no 13, so over there to Reno. And U6F. W6 Able Queen Uncle.
Okay, good deal. I got no same thing. I've got no QRM, no QRN. Just the signals that are supposed to be there. So great copy yet. And yeah, let's see. I'll start from top to bottom. And okay, Chuck, on the time tunnel, you and Steve both catching the little-known fact that somehow the Japanese got a hold of an ART-13. Well, that was one of the unknown facts of World War II. That's pretty funny. And Dave, okay, run down on all. Let's see, you got the foreign broadcast finally disappeared. The mystery, you know, your mystery heterodyne you're hearing, everybody, that's about like what I have normally here. That's that weak noise that's that I always hear on, not always, probably 50% of the time, that I'll hear in everybody. And I've driven around. It's very, very widespread, low-level interference. Well, it's probably like an S8, almost right on our frequency. And all I could ever figure was that I had maybe one of the warehouses so many around here with big SCR chargers charging up forklifts. I don't know. But when it's not there, things are fine. And when it's there, most of you guys are able to take care of it. But the weaker stations, it messes them up. Okay, on the shed floor. And yes, I remember W5HRO and his, I think it was a CB, an old CB rig that he used, and he had, in fact, I looked over on QRZ and I saw the rack that he had the amp and everything else in. So, good deal. Well, good hearing a new station from Cameron Park. I used to drive through there a lot back when I was at work at PG&E, to the mountaintop site there just out of town. And Jerry, good deal on your outside yard work you have to do. And yes, 10 meters is pretty good. But I've been working on my bench project all week. And like Tom, OPE, when there's no bench space left, there's no bench space left. You can only, work on one thing anymore. And I've got two MAB, two Navy MAB little pack set rigs that are occupying a lot of time. I built the power switching supplies for the one, and got the transmitter working in it, and the receiver receives real well at 455. But I felt like Henry last night. I noticed the crystal oscillator wasn't working on the mixer, no RF stage on it, and yeah, I ended up checking the oscillator plate, the plate coil, the one Grid used as a plate, and yeah, it was open, and yeah, the manual, said right there, 34 turns with number 34. Popped the coil out and got the microscope out and looked around, and no, I only had to go ahead and unwind another 1/4 inch of wire off the top. I was able to go ahead and resolder the one loose lead that had come. So now I've got B+ on there, but I still don't think the oscillator's working. I have to go ahead and sniff around in there, but so that's the two little projects on the bench. And Bob, good deal on the single 3-500Z. Well, hopefully that will not tax the circuit breaker, and you can stay on the air with that thing. And Mike, on the Loomis swap meet, like Mike said, there wasn't much there. There was not, small parts, computer stuff. My big find was actually a military World War II era set of headphones, high impedance phones, and I didn't want the phones. I only wanted the headband with the clips, because I have a really nice intact MAB headset and microphone. The cables, the rubber cables, are just pristine. I have no idea why. And it's a 40, I think I saw a date inside. It's a 43, 1943 manufacturer MAB. And the Y-shaped rubber covered wire is as if it was brand new. There's no crack splits. I mean, it even smells like rubber instead of crackly old pieces of stuff hanging off a wire. So anyhow, but yeah, I did get the headset clip and a spinner knob to put on the Homebrew 4CX 250 amp, so I can take its knob off, which is the correct knob for the TDE plate tuning. I have the original knob, but the spinner was broken off since day one, I guess. And so now I have the correct knob for that. So it was a long round trip for for two little items, but I also wanted to visit friends in Roseville, so I stayed there most of the day, got back in the evening. So it was it was still a good time. And the low frequency receivers, the guy had 2 RAKs, and I didn't write down the number of the other, which I wasn't familiar with, and probably if I mentioned it, it would have clicked for some of you guys, but it was had a cat-eye tube for tuning, and it had a top opening lid where you could look inside in the cabinet. So it was kind of unique that way, and it was military, and it was, I can't remember what the top frequency was. I think it only went to like 200 kc, but yeah, that was the only interesting thing. Other than that, like Mike said, visiting with some of the other guys. Steve, okay, out of the time tunnel, and having the R390A, taking a listen there. So I wonder if that was one of the wheelbarrow twins. Okay, with that, I will pass it over to Steve, who is out of the time tunnel and back in 2024, W6SSP, NU6F.
Okay, Ron. NU6F, W6SSP. Yeah, back to the present, at least for the moment. Anyway, very good on everything. You got some interesting stuff, some nice stuff from the swap meet. So sometimes they're a long drive, but for not too much. But you sound like you got some stuff you needed, so that's worth the trip right there. And Dave, you know, I have the same conditions here occasionally, where other people key up and I hear a heterodyne station, or other people heterodyne with a station that's way off frequency, and that's what I'm hearing. It doesn't happen all the time, but every once in a while, and it is a little disconcerting, but I don't think it's all that terribly uncommon. Anyway, conditions are still good. Propagation is still good. Noise level here is coming up as it gets brighter and the neighbors' solar panels start charging their batteries. Oh well, such it is. Anyway, had an interesting radio, had an interesting receiver on the bench this week. This is R808/GRC14. This is one I picked up at the CHRS swap about a month or so ago. And I really bought it just for the tubes. It was pretty cheap, but had a bunch of holes drilled in the cabinet, which looked terrible, and a bunch of wires coming out the side. So I figured, well, it's been hamified and probably not worth much, but for parts. Well, anyway, I decided to take a closer look at that, and the wires were nothing special, just extensions of the power connector, I think, and a pot. The dial intensity pot was disconnected and wires hanging out from that. So once I cleaned that stuff up and figured out how to power it up, it came to life, which is pretty cool. So I didn't really expect that to happen. One thing is this receiver is very similar in some ways to the R392, in that plate power is 28 volts as well as filaments, of course. And it uses some really weird tubes, one of which was broken, unfortunately. And they are 6AJ5s, which are pentodes, and very, very similar to the 6AK5, but designed to operate at lower plate voltages. So I substituted in a 6AK5 because I couldn't find a 6AJ5 in stock. And it works, but audio is very distorted. Anyway, it's a pretty interesting receiver in that it was obviously designed for teletype, primarily for teletype. In fact, it's got 6 modes, and 4 of those modes involve teletype, both AFSK and FSK, wide and narrow. So anyway, I'm going to play around with that a little bit more, and still looking for a manual for it. No luck finding a schematic or anything, any information, so I'm kind of flying blind on it right now. But it's on the bench, and it works, so I'm going to put some more time into it. We'll see how that goes. We'll send it over to Tom, WA6OPE, W6SSP.
Okay, W6SSB, WA60BE, conditions are changing around for sure. You started out, Steve, loud, really loud, and then started getting down into the noise. Slow QSB. R808, yeah. Ugh. I've had let's see, at least one over the years. They were built-in loop supply, also built-in DMOD. And they sort of work. I had it hooked up to a Model 28, and it actually did work, but the DMOD wasn't much to write home about, that's for sure. So let's see, 32RA, somebody mentioned in Time Tunnel, I think, of whatever it was. Yeah, an interesting story about that. By the way, part of the story starts with W7 Joe, and some of you may not know that he's a SK these days. Died on November 27th, from what information I've got. Anyway, he discovered a cache of stuff in San Marino, and that's next to Pasadena. And so this is one in association with Fort MacArthur. So we went down to Fort MacArthur, people, and I went down to San Marino and looked at this stuff. And man, there was a cache of stuff too. There was 6 modified BC610s, 610Is and T213s. And they've been modified to be medium frequency beacons. Well, lots of parts. And there was, I think there were 4 or 5 BC654s. There was all kinds of stuff. And then in this cache of stuff, there was either 3 or 4 32RAs, Collins 32RAs in this cache of stuff. Well, anyway, they made a deal. They got the whole shebang. Drug it back to Fort MacArthur and started looking into it, searching this and searching that. They picked up, I think this was Ryan, W6FPU, or it could have been Dennis involved at that time. Anyway, somebody was looking into the 32RAs, and they were cleaning it up, and they looked at the back of it, and on the back of it, they noticed that it had been stenciled HDLA, which was Harbor Defenses of Los Angeles in World War II. And then subsequently, in a lot of the research that was done by poor people and stuff on what happened in World War II in LA, there was a net, a radio net, HDLA net, and there were 32RAs all over the place, and also BC669s all over the place, and a complete listing of frequencies and equipment of all these net stations. There was U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, California Highway Patrol, Coast Guard, a whole bunch of different organizations had this big net, and they had frequencies. It was a voice net, and in fact 3885 was one of the frequencies that was used. And anyway, there were lots of interesting information, but 32RAs all over the place. There must have been 6 stations that were using 32RAs, and then here we go. We actually recovered a 32RA with HDLA stamped on or stenciled on the back, which was quite a find. So anyway, and the status of that today is it's in the radio room at Fort MacArthur, but Fort MacArthur is closed, shut down, and we don't know. There are lawsuits pending. It is a big, ugly mess, friends. And we don't know at this point whether it'll ever reopen again or in what form or anything like that. And all that stuff is there. And, well, what a shame. But that HDLA 32RA, which, by the way, I think it was either Dennis or Ryan got it working. And it worked quite well. And I think they had it on 20 meters. And anyway, an interesting set. And boy, I was really shocked to learn how many of those things were running around in World War II. Oh, a lot of them. So that's what I have to offer on this transmission, and this will be my 73 round. I will talk to you later. Have fun, guys. Thanks for the Loomis report. Sorry it wasn't better. Anyway, let's see. Yeah, comment on the microphone that number 7 KE6QK is using. It sounds really, really thin. For to use an audio term, thin. It has all highs, no lows whatsoever. It sounds like an impedance mismatch to me. It's not distorted. It's very easy to understand. But anyway, that's my report. The audio level's about right. It's not distorted, but it's just really, really thin and just high frequencies. I'm trying to think of what the lowest frequency is, but boy, it isn't much. So that's what it is, and that's my report. 73, everybody. KE6QK, WA6OPE.
Test. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. W6OPE. W6OPE, KE6QK. Okay, we're back on the shear control magnetic microphone. I just had a flashover. Maybe I'm hitting it too hard here. Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. Yeah, the D104 is set aside waiting. I've got a new element on order. That was a test. We put that back in line there on the bench for future work. I have to comment, I am very excited about the 75S1 here. You may not believe this, but the 1961 75S1 is more sensitive than my new ICOM 7300 as far as I can see. I can hear Bill better. The issue with this receiver, the Collins has a tight bandwidth, and I have to move around with some of the AM stations to tweak them and peak them a little bit better. The bandwidth totally different than other receivers. And for example, Brian HRO, I didn't hear him off. He was out of my bandpass. I tuned him in at 3969, and he was S9, very strong signal. But this S9 receiver will cut you right out of the bandpass, and that explains why I didn't hear any foreign broadcast. That foreign broadcast station yesterday, I was actually listening to it higher in frequency, and it was 10 over 9. I didn't hear it today because I was on 74. So that's the score on the 75S1 with the 2 new tubes in it. I love it. It's working very well. Okay, mentioned Cameron Park. Mike, the 106 you're using today, very communications quality. The transmitter you used last week sounded like KKOH, a full spectrum of audio. The 106 and the mic you're using is narrower. You're trying to shoot for 300 to 5,000 hertz, and just like me, when you change microphones, the whole game changes there. Good news, I worked all week on the bench here. I'm going to make this fast. The band is changing. I just about have the Heathkit VFO rebuilt. I will be doing testing probably this week. I haven't put any B+ on it yet. I want to make sure it doesn't blow up. It's a total rebuild. The guy who built this Heathkit didn't know how to solder, and I've had to do every fillet. Every fillet had to be sucked out with the paste machine and reflowed. I won't do it any other way. It was terrible, covered with corrosion, and it's old, and it needed a lot of work. And the net's good. I have a suggestion, possibly. At 7 o'clock this morning, everyone was 10 over 9, quiet, the band was settled down. Now, at this time, we're going into QSB. You might want to look at starting the net a half hour early at 7 o'clock when 75 meters is more stable. Okay, going over the net notes here. Yeah, Bill,
I'm hearing you much better with your 25 watts on the Collins receiver. We commented on the microphones. We commented on the Globe Scout. Maybe I can come up on the Globe Scout next week. Other than that, all signals were good. Steve, you kind of faded out a little bit with the band changing, but then you slowly QSB'd up to 9. It was kind of weird, so the band is changing. Anyway, W7MS and the group KE6QK. Pick it up, Mike.
Well, thank you, Rich. KE6QK, W7MS, Mike in Reno. In a note here, I had a text message from Ron, and he may or may not be here, Chuck. He may have to get going and start his day here, so just a heads up, an unofficial sign out for Ron, but we'll see if he is still hanging for the rotation. But yeah, comments to Rich. We certainly know you changed to the good microphone. I would say the D104 is, I would say, is hideous. You've already gotten the reports, but on the comments on the GRC 106 audio, keep in mind this is AME, so this is a fudged sideband transmitter. So we're upper sideband. It's being pushed through a sideband filter, and also running a dynamic noise canceling microphone. So I think the audio is pretty much, it is what it is. And if you want to really hurt your ears, I could stick in a carbon microphone into this guy and put the dynamic away. So that's kind of the way it is, but appreciate the comments. And before I forget, on the Loomis report, I wanted to say a big shout out, thanks for Mr. Thomas Murphy, W6TOM. He gifted me about half a dozen cards for the 651S1 that he, as he described, he discovered he had reached the Jurassic period in his storage space and came upon these cards and gifted those to me yesterday. So that was very generous of Tom. And of course, you know, whether they're good or bad, unknown, and you only find out if you actually need one. So at least it's in the spares cache for any future issues with the 651S1. Oh, and Rich, also congratulations on the 75S1 and discovering the frailties and the advantages of a 2.1 kilohertz mechanical filter. And maybe some other comments. Well, I was chuckling about the Hallway Weird equipment identification from Steve and Chuck. Congratulations on that. And the Lend-Lease ART-13 to the Empire of Japan. Kind of interesting. Must have been pre-embargo. December 1941 and pre-embargo. Maybe one was exported for possible evaluation and purchase from the Japanese military. But good story. Dave, good job on the as you're pursuing your former retired career, at least from your former business, but you're pursuing that into the at the local QTH in the house there. And sorry to hear all the comments on strange noises. Bob asked about my noise issues. Heck if I know. Just like Ron and the other folks, they come and go. Some days are better than others, but it certainly isn't like the olden days of a totally quiet noise floor. You kind of roll the dice and see what happens on any specific operating situation. And let me see, great stories here, but I think I'll make this my 73 round also and sign out, and I will listen through. So with that, over to Bill, N6BCT, W7MS.
Yeah, those guys. I forgot to mention what I just heard from Brent and put them out here on the phone. You know of the license, but there's something put them out here. Anyway, I got them on the phone and looked for them. One of these times he's going to get us
SDR working. I'm using the SDR right now, and it really works because it's much better than because I don't have a program or radio, which it really makes everything bad. What's I done with simple program, but I didn't bother the AM server when I first got the radio. Because I didn't know I was going to use it. Now, I'm right to buy one. Yeah, how do you like that? Anyway, W7 YBS 16
Okay, Bill. N6BCT WA7 YBS. Okay. And good copy on everybody. 73 to Tom, WA6OPE, and 73 to Mike, W7MS. And good signals from both you guys. And Dave, nobody's mentioned it, maybe it's just me, but I hear a very low-level hum on your signal, W6MQI. And, you know, it's there. It goes away when you quit transmitting, but it is, you know, it's very low level, but it is noticeable. So I thought you might like to investigate that and see what's causing that little issue. And let's see. Yeah, Ron, if you're still around, yeah, that darn magnet wire. No, if it isn't breaking, it's like blasted in two, and that's what happened a couple of projects ago. The RF coil, first RF coil, they're yeah, burned right in two. Yeah, you know what happened on that? Yeah, RF into the receiver, and yeah, what's the first thing in line? Primary, the RF coil, and. Yeah, you see that little black spot there, you know what happened. And anyway, yeah, rewinding that, major pain, haven't done it. The fix was, of course, it was the old style open tubular type coil form. I wound a primary coil on the rubber grommet and shoved it down inside the barrel of the coil and then hooked up the wires, and that's how I got a primary on it. And yeah, it was just for the broadcast band, so who cares? Nothing to listen to on that anyway. And let's see, for Chuck, two things. On LF, why don't you use the Pixel Loop? That's what I use. And the Pixel Loop is great, down to about maybe 100 kilocycles. I think they spec it at 150, that it's, you know, okay to use that low. I've used it down to, you know, for anything that's in the NDB area is fine. Works great. And so that's all I use. The wire antennas are really, it's pretty noisy around here these days. And so the Pixel Loop is much better for, especially for the really weak signals. I heard Brian, and good morning to Brian, W5HRO. He was down a few KC, but yeah, very strong signal in here. Don't think that was the guy that was trying to check in though, because Brian was very strong and he wouldn't have been any problem to hear. And let's see, what else? Oh, for Chuck again. You know that band of 13? The band of 13 is now a band of 14. We have a little baby. Saw it today. And it can't be very old, and it's running around bucking and sucking. You know what I mean? So anyway, yeah, little colt. It's probably not more than a week old, and so we got 14 of them now. They were here this morning, 4:45 in the morning, stomping around. So anyway, project coming up will be another transmitter, and it's another homebrew transmitter. I've had this one for quite a while, and it's from W7NOM, Nancy Oscar Mike, W7NOM, and he was a guy up in Ontario, Oregon. And anyway, this transmitter is in a 6-foot-tall wooden cabinet that's painted gray wrinkle finish. You'd swear it was metal looking at it, but it's not. It's wood, painted gray wrinkle finish, probably built in the 1950s, and it's all national parts. And so it'll be an interesting transmitter to get running. I just have to get the tractor moved out of the way because I can't get about out of where I put it in the shop unless I get the tractor moved. So anyway, as soon as I get it out, that's the next project, is the W7NOM homebrew transmitter. So with that, let's see if Vern is still around. K6VXY, are you there? Go ahead, Vern. This is WA7YBS.
Conditions are going south again. I'm going to say 73 rounds. I got to get out of here. I'll try to talk to you next week. I got to fix my antenna. 73's all. Back to Chuck. Thanks for letting me in there, Henry. 73's all.
Okay, Vern. Well, 7-3s to you, Brian, Mike, and Tom. All righty. Let's see here. Henry. Yeah, that's great. You got a little spud button running around there, bucking and having fun with a furry little tail about 6 inches long. Oh, that's great. That's good to hear. Well, it's the time of the year, you know. Most of the foals are being born right now. You know, Tuesday's the first day of spring. So, oh yeah, and today's St. Patty's Day too. So, but anyway, good on the colt. And yeah, Henry, you know, I forgot about that. You know, I could definitely use the pixel loop for that. I do have about 50 feet of that wire left, though. I just thought, you know, maybe I'd try that just for fun, just to see what I could pick up. But no, that was a good idea, the pixel loop. Yeah, thanks for reminding me on that. I've got that on right now because I'm running 2 receivers, so I can do a lot of checking out with that one as well. And Mike, the ART-13 with the Lend-Lease, what happened in that deal there? As best I can remember, and if I'm wrong somewhere, Steve can correct me. But there was a communication shack in there, and it was like 2 rooms. And 99% of all the radios in the shack that Steve had mentioned were real gear. They were all in one room, and the Japanese fella, he walked into the other room, and there was an ART-13 sitting on the desk, and he picked that up by the rails and started walking out with it. And they went to open the door, and they ran into our military police, I believe it was. But somehow or another, the Japanese spies had infiltrated that while the bombing was going on. So that's kind of how that guy ended up with that transmitter. But it was a very nice looking one too. You know, it had the card in it and everything. So anyway, that's kind of how that went. But just thought I'd throw that in there. And I had no idea that Dennis Duval had passed away, W7QHO. I'm sorry to hear that. I know he was probably in his upper 80s, maybe 90. You know, I remember him with the MRCG, you know, net control. You know, I didn't know him very well, but he seemed like a very nice fella. And I know he was a smart guy too. I know he was an electrical engineer, but sorry to hear about that. And Rich. Trying to move back on the time on the net that would be kind of a hard deal to do. We've got some people there on, I believe it's 3975 on sideband, and you know, they're on there, you know, at least till, I don't know, 5 or 10 after 7 most of the time. So, you know, that's why we kind of try to keep everything down to like quarter after 7, between quarter after 7 and 7:25, somewhere in there. We'll start the net if we got enough people. But anyway, we want to be good neighbors, so you know, that would be kind of difficult for us to do. And I think those people are, I don't know this for sure, but I think they were like a Bible study group or something to that nature. And I surely wouldn't want to interfere with that. So we're just going to have to try to tough it out, I think, and just see what happens. It could vary from Sunday to Sunday. You just never know, but definitely have to check to see if the frequency's in use. So anyway, I guess that'll do it here. Let's go ahead and do a quick 7-3 round, guys, and we'll get out of here. So W6MQI, go ahead and do it. A quick 7-3 round, fellas. Go ahead, Dave. W6MQI, Dave, are you there? Over. I don't hear Dave. Does anybody hear him?
Nah, he must be gone. There's W6JRY. Let's see if I got it.
Yeah, Jerry, go ahead. W6JRY, yeah, go ahead and take it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe Dave had to leave. Anyway, I don't have too much more. I was just going to comment on a few things there. But yeah, I didn't know about Dennis there, QHO. That was new news there. But I remember talking to Dennis many times in the past years. And everybody's still good copy here. No problems with signal. There's a little more QSB and whatnot, but it's still hanging in here. And okay, what else was it? Well, I was going to mention something today, but he's gone, so I think he's going to send me an email anyway. And I will just say my 73s to everybody and pass it along to Bob. W6AQU in the group, W6 73s, and good morning from Forest Ranch.
Well, yes, Jerry, thank you. W6JRY, W6 Able Queen Uncle. All right, well, I'm sorry to hear about Dennis passing. Yeah, I used to talk to him many years ago when I had the TCK and lots of those fellows down there, and met him at down there with Pass Robles at the meets, and a very generous fellow. He had a lot of stuff. Well, if you need this, you can have that. And his van was always full of stuff in the back. The front of that van, he had a T368 that really held it on the road. With an open big vertical in the back. All right. Well, so I'd have the crews gone here already. Rich, yeah, the 75 S1 receiver's fantastic on AM. Of all the S-line receivers, the S1 is the best on AM. I have all of those. And I'd forgotten about that. The S-line stuff is all on another wall here, and it's all covered up and out of sight, out of mind. Let's see. Yeah, Vern, you are fading away also. We have not a pass. And I didn't know Brian was going to bail out. I had some more questions for him, but maybe next time. So we'll say 7-3s to all. See everybody next time. One is signed. Over to Steve. W6SST in Santa Rosa area. This is W6 Able Queen Oval. Good morning.
W6AQU, W6SSP. I wasn't sure if Ron signed, though, so let me give him a chance. Well, I guess he did. Okay. Wasn't listening. Noise levels have come way up here, so conditions are kind of spotty right now. And the fog is rolling in. Heavy fog all of a sudden. Sea fog, of all things. Kind of unusual this time of year. Anyway, yeah, it was pretty interesting. Oh, Chuck, first of all, yeah, you got it right on that show. The thing that really got my attention was all the equipment that was original. It wasn't in that time tone show. More often than not, the stuff is just hacked up things that, you know, they attach a microphone to it, call a radio, but everything I saw on that show was original and actually pretty close to being correct for the time period, which is very, very unusual. And let's see what else. Henry, looking forward to right up on your W7NON transmitter once you have on the shop. It'll be pretty cool. I always enjoy reading your blogs on things like this. Let's see. I guess that's about it for me, other than, like I said, I've been screwing around with the R808, which is a new receiver for me. I have another one that's really nice, but never really did anything with it. So just discovered earlier this morning that the matching transmitter is a T631, which I've never seen, never even heard of it. Both were issued to the Marines apparently, and probably not that many around. So I'm rather And Tom, if you're still listening, I enjoyed your talk about the Collins 32 RAs. I ran out of the hats to get one, but that faded over time when I didn't see any for sale. In fact, I didn't even know anything except maybe Mike. So anyway, say 73's here, and let's see, we sent it down to KE6QK from W6SSP. 73 on.
With W6SSP in the group KE6QK. Roger, the band is going away, the S meter is going down. You have to get out of here, say 73. Mike, I understand the technology. Carrier inserted, sideband, half a sideband, and then double sideband. Got it. We're going to continue working on the equipment backlog here. I'm having my issues with the tubes. I got this TV7U here. I check them, and sometimes they check good, but they don't work good after 50 years. Okay, on the net change, we can just pick it up after the Bible study group goes away and get the net started, and maybe we can hang in here a little longer. We're leaving. We're going to say 73s. Thank you very much, guys. Enjoyed it. We're going to QSY to 7284. We go into the noontime net every day. Big load up. Gives you a good idea of propagation on 40 meters. 73, K7MS, KE6QK. Goodbye.
Go ahead and take it, Bill. N6BCT. It's all yours. Go ahead.
I don't get it on QRZ.
Okay, Bill. N6BCT, WA7YBS. Okay, very good. I'm the last guy, so I'll say 73 all around. Everybody have a good one. Hope to hear all of you back next week. I'll be net control, and we'll see what happens. Back to Chuck, K0DWC, WA7YBS.
Okay, Henry, WA7YBS, K0DWC. I'll give you a quick buzz this afternoon, later this afternoon, Henry. And okay, guys, great net. 13 of us today. Wow, good deal. Appreciate you guys being there. You guys make the net, I'm telling you. Man. This is K0DWC, and I'll be securing the Vintage Military Radio Net for today, and we would like to thank everybody for their participation, and invite everybody back next Sunday. As Henry stated, he'll be net control. And you guys have a good day today, enjoy the weather, and have a good week ahead. So with that, we'll turn the frequency back over to normal use, and I'll be signing off. This is K0DWC signing off, thanking everybody again for a great net. 7-3, guys.